Envase Technologies creates a suite of solutions that makes it easier to run your trucking business. For drivers and carriers, our solutions put control back in your hands with a TMS, capacity and storage marketplace, and rate management system. Optimize your operations with less administrative headaches and increase the value of your time spent on and off the clock. Envase Technologies, driving progress, delivering innovation. For more information, visit envasetechnologies.com. That's ENVASE Technologies.com.
Hey, supply chainers, wherever you are in the world, this is Sarah Barnes Humphrey with you today. Are you ready? Let's talk supply chain. Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Thoughts and Coffee. My name is Sarah Barnes Humphrey. I'm the founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain, the Blended Podcast, and the founder of the Blended Pledge. I am back in my home office, and with me today is Ashley Yentz of Sleep Number, and I can't wait to dive into all the predictions for 2024. We had a great time at Manifest. Her and I only had 2 minutes to catch up, so we did all of that before the show today, and we'll dive right into that in just a minute. But first, let's hear from our show sponsors. So are you ready to find your community? If you are struggling to find a supply chain community of like-minded professionals where you can level up, network, learn about best practices from experts in supply chain, professional development, and marketing, look no further. We created the Secret Society of Supply Chain to provide a safe space, a community for everyone in supply chain. We offer unique opportunities for everyone to connect and grow in our 3 distinct value-packed communities: the supply chainers, women in supply chain, and the creative room. From the learn at your own pace, content-rich approach of the supply chainers to the empowering community-focused space of women in supply chain and the marketing mastermind of the creative room, we mean it when we say there's truly a place for everyone. So head over to the Secret Society of Supply Chain.com to explore which community was made for you. All right. So what's new at Let's Talk Supply Chain? We have a brand new episode. This is the 3rd and final episode for now with Gaines, and we're talking about achieving real results and innovating for the future. I really like this one. There was a lot of really great takeaways. So if you're going to go and check out this episode, make sure to have a pen and paper ready to take down some notes. Go and check it out. It was episode 390. Wherever you listen to the show, you can also watch it on our YouTube channel as well. Now, this week is really exciting. So tomorrow we have 2 really cool launches. One is Relax Talks. This is our new, one of our new live shows. They are going live at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. And tomorrow they're talking about pricing. And each month they're going to focus on a specific area of retail and supply chain. So stay tuned. Go and click the attend button, and we will send you the recording so that you don't miss a beat. Plus, tomorrow we are launching our first cohort of our Women in Supply Chain membership group, and I cannot wait to hear all the exciting things that come out of that. Now, on Friday, we've also got LogTech Live with Eric Johnson, Supply Chain Secrets from the Shipping Trenches. Go and click the attend button for that. And then next week, we have another brand new show. Next Wednesday, February 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern, Christine Barnhart is hosting Supply Chain Unfiltered. And you're not going to want to miss this because she is going to be talking about everything supply chain, but completely unfiltered. And I cannot wait to see what she has to say. And last but not least, before we bring Ashley up, just want to let you know that we are launching our marketing mastermind. This is a virtual monthly meetup for marketing professionals in supply chain next month. There's only 2 spots left. So definitely reach out to me if you're interested, because we've got a really cool group of marketing professionals that are going to be part of this cohort. Plus, there's lots of discounts and fun things that are going to happen. So I definitely want to see you there. And now it's time to bring up Ashley. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so great to see you. I cannot believe this. So just to set the stage, literally Ashley was on stage. So we were texting, right? We were trying to meet up. But Vegas is such a really big place. And I had already walked I think I walked like 25,000 steps before I even texted you.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm not walking anymore. And you're like, I'm not walking anymore. And
Correct.
then you were on stage right before me, which I didn't realize.
I
And I
know.
was making funny faces at you while you were up on stage and you were trying not to laugh. And then
Yeah.
you came down and you had all these people because you're so popular. They were like, I want to talk to Ashley. And I was like, give me 2 seconds. So I said hi and I was like, we'll catch up for thoughts and coffee. So that's how that went last week.
Yeah. If you ever want to feel popular, be a shipper at Manifest and you'll be popular.
It was awesome though. Like you contribute so much to the industry and just, you being on stage right before me and having a chance to like listen and
awesome.
watch what you were talking about. What was the topic?
We were talking about really inventory and kind of the state of inventories and how we're dealing with inventories. And my partners on stage were mostly data and kind of digitization providers. So they were talking about how they can kind of enable and help with inventory optimization, which is one of the trends we'll talk about when we talk about predictions. But it was good. We talked a lot about, we left COVID on a big high, not having, coming from shortages and really just trying to get our hands on any inventory we could.
Yeah.
And really, experience the bullwhip effect at all its glory right now. We are now scrambling to use up inventory very quickly. And kind of how we're incorporating that into our overall like product portfolio, how we're redesigning product to use inventory differently and kind of optimize our parts and pieces. So that was really kind of the summary of what we talked about in our short little panel. But it was fun.
Awesome. And we're probably going to hear more about that because one of our articles today is going to talk about the next evolution of warehousing and inventory. All right. So for anybody who doesn't know you, give us an introduction of who you are and what you do.
That's right. So my name is Ashley Yentz. My average sleep IQ is a 75. I work.
Has that gone down? Wait a second. From last time you were here, I think it's gone down. You were like high 80s last time.
It probably has. We got a puppy, so I don't sleep as well now. But I work for Sleep Number. I got a slightly new role. I'm the head of global strategic sourcing now and supply chain strategy. Thank you. So I'm over all of our direct material sourcing as well as our indirect sourcing, network optimization, as well as our supplier quality and supplier development.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited that you're here. I'm going to get a market update from you in just a minute. For anybody who's watching, let us know where you're watching from. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions during the show, make sure to put them in the comments. I want to say hi to Srinivas and Mukal and Andrew over on my personal LinkedIn. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, let's get to the poll and then we're going to get into a bit of a market update. So we ask you all a question every single Wednesday morning across our LinkedIn and Instagram. Now, this question that we asked you last week, how do you effectively manage your deadlines? 62% of you said prioritization first. I want to see what everybody's prioritization tools are because I know that I am old school and I'm like, I got to-do lists everywhere. And I always, I prioritize and shift. I use this thing called prioritize and shift. So I'll write like a to-do list for the day and I'll make sure that I get certain things done. And then if I don't get too caught up in it. I actually just shift it to the next day because I feel like sometimes we get like totally stressed out about priorities and things like that. Anyways, 20% of you said time blocking. I have never been good at that. 14% is multitasking. I want to know how many of those are women. And 3% I delegate. Now that was almost 500 votes. Crazy. What do you think about this, Ashley? How do you effectively manage your deadlines?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of everything. I make sure I start every week with what am I required to get done this week based on kind of my goals and objectives frankly for the year. So like, what do I need to get out of the week? Do I need to win X, Y, and Z on what negotiation? What are my things that I need to do? And then I kind of work backwards on from there. And then there's always, administrative things like complete a performance review or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do some time blocking. So, in corporate life, right, your calendar is not your own. It gets sucked into meetings quite a bit. So
Yes.
I do use.
What is it with all these meetings?
I don't know.
Do we really need them all? I'm not entirely sure.
I want to say they're good. People give meetings such a bad rap. I want to say it's the intent of collaboration. I really want to give it. I want to say they're
Watch what you
not
say.
ill intended, right? They're in good intent. But a meeting is only as good as its purpose and outcomes. So we have to be better at that. But time blocking is important for me. If I don't have it blocked or like somewhere intentional, then it probably won't be getting done. So that's kind of how I approach getting stuff done.
I love that. Well, Jenny says a combination of the first three on the list. I time block the priority items and multitask just about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says I create a to-do list and then create an action plan per task. Oh. Wow. I don't know if I have time to do that. Right. Renee, is there an all of the above option? I love all of those. And thanks to everybody who weighed in on the question of the week. We love to hear from you. It's all about learning from each other, that kind of thing. All right. So why don't we talk a little bit about a market update? Talk to us about what's happening in your world. What are you seeing? And then we can throw some stuff in for Manifest as well. Because I have to say, I did a bunch of interviews while I was at Manifest for Manifest. We recorded some podcast episodes. People were pretty optimistic for 2024, right? I even said that in the video update that I think we posted just the other day. There was a lot of optimism. There was a lot of people, doing business and talking about business and. You know what I mean?
People are buy, which is great. Like when people are there to talk business, buy, purchase, that's always a good sign for manufacturing. I think, overall in the U.S., manufacturing is a little slow. Overall, supply chain in general isn't as volatile. People are feeling good in general about where we're going in 2024. 2024 is a little bit in the US, a little bit nerve-wracking because of our election year. That always puts us in a weird spot. Just you never know where things are going to go from a supply chain lens, right? That could mean, at the end of the year, we could have tariffs we're up against. We're just kind of a little bit on some loose footing, but I'm glad to hear. It was a lot of people there. So first of all, that's a great turnout. When you have a good turnout, that's good to see. A lot of good conversation, there wasn't a lot of, I would say, new, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, if you heard different, but I would say there's not new innovation happening at the show, but a lot of new technology enablers that were, continue to show up that are getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
That I liked to hear about and talk to providers about. So yeah, overall really good. I don't want to turn this podcast into a Real Housewives podcast, but did you see Sutton from Beverly Hills?
No.
Okay, so there was a Real Housewife at the show, which I think
there was. How did I miss this?
She was buying. It wasn't like she was there as as her, as a whatever, as a paid guest. She was buying for her business.
Wow.
For warehouse optimization. Yeah, Sutton.
And did you just run into her? How did that?
Well, it might surprise you, but I was with a group of men, and I was the only one who recognized her.
Oh.
Fire, and I was like, "That's a Real Housewife."
And so, did you say anything?
No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to bug her.
Pull out your phone.
She's
grab
a CEO.
selfie. I'm with Sleep Number.
Yeah.
Here's my card.
Yeah.
What's your sleep score?
I know. I should have sold her a pen. Anyway, I thought that was exciting.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
I had no idea. No, but I think you're right. Obviously, I think investment was down last year. I think we're seeing there was a lot of VCs there. There was a lot of interest in the companies that were there. and investment back into the industry, which I thought was great.
Great.
And so that's what I mean, right? Like, I think the vibe was just that people are optimistic for 2024 in a variety of different ways. I'm not sure, like you said, there was a ton of new companies there, but there was companies there whose technology, got through 2023, is there for 2024, sticking it out stable. And a lot of people looking at a lot of different options, and a real housewife looking for some technology for their warehouse. I mean, you can't beat that.
I mean, listen.
That's awesome. So let's talk about warehousing.
Yes.
Because our first article, now we all talk about how AI is going to replace jobs. But one of the things that I have been trying to talk about over the last couple of years is how many jobs it's going to create. And everybody's like, well, what kind of jobs is it going to create? Well, this is one of them. And it is called a robot wrangler. I don't know if you've heard of this. Wall Street Journal came out with an article, but I don't subscribe to them, so I can't read theirs. So I got this one off of Warehouse Automation. And it's talking about how we bring humans and robots together in a warehouse scenario. And they have hired these people called robot wranglers to make sure that the robots stay on course. Yeah. Now, what did you think of this when you saw this? Because I'm telling you, I never saw this one coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the technology that we currently work with like scan guns and pick paths and things outside of robots. We're constantly problem solving, right? Why did this pick path take this long? It's similar to this robot, right? Why did this robot wander off? Well, now we have to look into the algorithm and say, what did it see? What did it sense? Why did it wander off? And so these are real smart jobs that we're creating. These aren't, a robot wrangler may sound like a warehouse rancher or something. It's not, right?
I feel like they're walking around with a lasso.
Yeah, no, this is software. This is stuff that you really have to look into the algorithm and say, okay, what triggered this robot to kind of get off course? I think that takes talent, that takes real knowledge to kind of understand what's going on here. It's very interesting. And frankly, I think the article said they have to sometimes go out and see the robot in person, but I think what it said first was like they can be remote and actually kind of tap into the pictures and kind of see where that robot is.
And get them back on course.
Kind of, get them back on track, which is interesting because that also implies that you can have a group of people kind of remote, not in the warehouse, which, right? So part of our labor shortage was kind of, can we get people in these warehouses doing this work? Well, now we can kind of centralize work that's remote and allow people to do jobs from their homes or where else.
Yeah.
Still do these tasks from far away. So that's, we are creating jobs that are different, but also jobs that don't, you don't have to go into work and it doesn't have to be manual labor. So
a couple of the examples that they were talking about, I guess there was an accident in one of the warehouses and the robot got covered in white paint.
Oh, no.
So one of the examples is that they had to go over to their teammate and wipe the white paint out of their eyes, but it was actually a robot. And then sometimes there's standoffs between humans and robots. So if you picture this, picture somebody here and a robot here, and every time they move this way, the robot moves this way. And so there's this standoff in the warehouse because the robots will not let them pass. And so these human robot wranglers get these phone calls. Your robot won't let me pass. Can you please figure this out? Or they get lost. They're just like supply chain professionals. And sometimes they get so overwhelmed that they just want to hide under somebody's desk. And apparently that's a thing. They'll find robots trying to hide under somebody's desk. So, I mean, are we really that different?
We get that. I mean, the people that did that job before probably understand that the most. So,
well, with 21% of warehouses using robots, I think that's only going to increase, right?
Yes.
So I think the scenarios of the robots and human robot wranglers, maybe there's going to be some other jobs that are going to come out of that too that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, I think this was back in 2018 or 2019, I was at JDA Icon. Locust Robotics was there. I was doing some interviews on the show floor, and I tried to interview a robot, and I have video of this somewhere, and I will find it and put it out there. So, I mean, these things are happening. It's taken a little bit of time, but it's happening.
It's taking time. I think some of the best technology I've actually seen at some of these conferences that we go to is the ability to have forklift operators that are remote and consolidated that you can share across facilities. Mm-hmm. So the forklift is automated, but it's manned by one person that can man it. If you have a facility in Texas and in Maryland, they can do a pick. They can do a pick in Texas and then go do a pick in Maryland.
Wow.
I thought that was actually more innovative and less problematic than some of the robotics technology. I was really excited about that at the time.
And I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah,
we're only at the tipping point.
Yeah, and it was a way to step into it, right? You still had to have some of the data from a pathing perspective and a camera perspective implemented for that technology, but you started kind of with this manned approach. Those people weren't in the facility. So.
Amazing. Well, I want to say hi to Tom. We've also got Ahmed and Kamalesh. Tom said it's going to shift. AI is going to shift the types of jobs available. We still need humans dissecting the actions of robots. Isn't that true? All right. Let's get to our second article. So this one is about the executive order around supply chain. Now, one of the key themes that they're talking about is that collaboration is a key theme in supply chain. And that's going to resonate through this executive order. Now, the first thing that they're talking about is supply chain data sharing capabilities. And I think they're building a supply chain center to talk just about risk management. Stephanie from the CEO of Tealbook, she was quoted in this article as well. They're also focused on increased visibility and real-time accuracy, made in America, and deepening engagements with allies. Now, what did you think about this? Because when I see increased visibility, I'm like, have we defined what that actually is first before we start pouring money into it? I'm just not entirely sure because we've been talking about visibility for years. So talk to me about what you thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. I hope what it means is visibility and maybe better labor statistics, shortages in supply, maybe like delays kind of in country in areas that maybe we don't have real-time information on in the US. So like I equate it to something very simple. When we source carriers in the US, we can tap into safety measurements that's provided by the Department of Transportation that we can kind of see what their safety ranking is. And we can basically eliminate them. We cannot give them a truckload based on that safety ranking, based on the data that's coming from the government. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where my head went first. Okay. Is like, how do we get information in such a real-time sense that I could see if a supplier is having a real-time issue, and it's not necessarily in safety, but in a shortage or in a quality sense, or, I mean, we're going to get into sustainability or health, or, we have a lot of issues in labor, right? Like in social issues, right? Like how are there things that would flag us almost immediately of a risk there that we could move sources more quickly? That's kind of where my brain was going when I was thinking about that collaboration and modeling. Now, did they have any of that detail in there? No. Do I know how that would come about and how we would access that and how companies would be able to kind of get at that data? No. And, I think in that article, they even end it with, this is probably a very slow process. But I was, if we could get somewhere where we could see more of the risk in real time, that would be great. What that risk is, I'm not sure, and how we see it, I'm not sure.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. And they're also doing $1 billion plus investment in US supply chains. And so I'm interested to see where that money goes and how that money is going to be spent and how much input they're going to be getting from the supply chain community as to what's real, what's not real, what's viable. Because when we think about supply chain, it covers a whole lot of different things.
Yes.
And so Nathan just said, I want transparency in international shipments. Okay, but somebody might need transparency in trucking or sourcing or suppliers, or there's so many different touch points. How are we going to bring that together in that data sharing capability, risk management for all those touch points? And so I think, like you said, there's a lot more to uncover here, but just letting everybody know that this is where this executive order is going, how much money is being spent, and let's try to get some supply chain professionals in the room talking about what actually is needed. All right, let's get to our last article because I didn't realize it. You and I have so much fun, but we only have 4 minutes left. All right, this last one is around predictions for 2024. Now, we've been talking about predictions for a number of weeks, and I want to know specifically from Ashley, the 4 that are covered in this particular article, are they real? Are they not real? Is there anything that should have been maybe added to this? So they talk about risk, they talk about sustainability, which is interesting because 2 weeks ago I read an article that sustainability is not top of mind anymore. Transparency and predictability, digitization, and AI. And we're hearing like I didn't go an hour without hearing about AI. So Ashley, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with most of them. I think where there's crossover on the onshore, I think they talked with the resiliency piece around the onshoring, which was also another theme we heard in Manifest. There's some crossover in the administrative article with Biden where he talked about working more strongly with allies. I think what I want to make clear is I think globalization is not going away. There are certain products and commodities we cannot do quickly and safely in the US that we will not really be able to do with onshoring. And frankly, we constantly play the labor game, right? So labor is going to get more expensive in Mexico. So then, where do we go next from an onshoring perspective? And so, yes, is onshoring still a theme? Yes. Will it get more complex? I think so. Will tariffs continue to play a role in that as we get through an election year? Probably. The other one is sustainability. I think as we, at least in my industry, I'm still recovering from a bit of a dip. Sustainability still takes a lot of investment. It's taking a lot of collaboration. It takes a lot of infrastructure. Surprise! Like some of the requirements coming out of California for some of our electric trucks, there will be a little bit of a ripple effect. So sustainability, although not top of mind, it is going to hit us. We are constantly looking at risks in this area, especially when it comes to regulations. But it's not necessarily the priority in our strategy, right? The priority is really coming from predictability, resiliency, really to drive out cost. But really, when you drive out cost and waste, you are focused on some sustainability, right? So it isn't a priority, and it's not being talked about as much, but it is still in the ethos as well.
And what technology are you kind of focused on this year? Because I talk about we talk about these conferences, right? It's really hard to meet everybody at every conference, and I feel like shippers are going to the conferences now with a focus on sort of that priority for the year of what they're going to be looking at, what they need to focus on, and what options are out there.
Yes. So we are really looking at, so our focus is right inventory, right time, right place, really to drive out waste and cost. And what we're looking for is a solution that allows us to do that across. And we are a fully integrated company. So I want a system that allows me to sense if someone's smart bed is going to have a slight air loss. I want to be able to sense that so I can order that part and have it delivered it to them before they have an error in their experience, or they have
Right.
So we're looking at something that can connect across the whole business and do it in a predictive way. So there is an underlying current of AI.
Well,
so that's kind of what we're looking for.
And that's amazing because like I was on stage talking about customer experience.
Yes.
And this is what it's all about. Supply chain being able to predict, to be able to order so that your client has the experience where it shows up at their door without even knowing that that's what they needed.
Yep.
Ashley, you always come on and provide such great insight. I appreciate you for coming on today. Ed, we are going to be posting the links to all the articles on LinkedIn right after we end the show. So stay tuned. Just want to let everybody know quickly where we're going to be. March 21st, I've got a webinar that I'm hosting with Supply Chain Brain for Reveal, and we're going to be talking about parcel shipping in style. And then I'm also going to be at TPM March 3rd through 6th. So if you're going to be there, make sure to come and say hi. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Ashley, thanks again. We're going to have you on in probably just a few months again.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you.